Okay, today we're finishing off with lesson 16. We're going to be solving some word problems that are involving money. Okay, so number 1, Miguel had $1 bill, 2 dimes, and 7 pennies. Okay, John had $2 bills, 3 quarters, and 9 pennies. Okay, remember to underline the important phrases in the sentence. How much money did the two boys have in all? Okay, so we see in all, we know we're going to be doing some adding here. Okay, so we're going to set it up with Miguel and John. Okay, we do our tape diagrams. So we know Miguel has $1. He has 2 dimes and then 7 pennies. Okay. Next we have John, who has $2. We have 3 quarters, which is 75 cents, and then 9 pennies. Okay, and we want to know in all. Okay, so we can see Miguel has $1.27. John has $2. And we see now we have to add 75 plus 9, which gives us 84 cents. Okay, and now we can go through and add them up. And we can see that the boys have $4.11 total. Okay. All right, number 2. Sula needed $7.13 to buy a book. In her wallet, she found $3 bills, 4 dimes, and 14 pennies. How much more money does she need to buy the book? So we can see that we have our total amount here as the price of the book. We need how much more. So that tells us that we're going to be doing some subtraction. So we'll set up our tape diagram. Okay, we know our total is $7.13. Okay. Now our known amount, we see we have $3. And then for our cents, we have 4 dimes, which is 40 cents, plus 14 pennies, which gets us a total of 54 cents. Okay, so your 4 dimes plus your 14 pennies gets us our 54 cents. Okay, so now we can go through and do our subtraction. Okay, 3 minus 4. Now we have 13 minus 4, 10 minus 5, and then 6 minus 3. Okay, you can see that she needs $3.59. Okay. Alright, so moving on now to number 3. Okay, so now we have Vanessa, who has 6 dimes and 2 pennies. Joaquim has $1, 3 dimes, and 5 pennies. Jimmy has $5 and 7 pennies. Now they want to put their money together to buy a video game that costs $8. Do they have enough money to buy the game? If not, how much more do they need? Okay. Okay, so we're going to set it up with our 3 people here. Okay, so we have Vanessa, Joaquim, and Jimmy. Okay, so we see Vanessa has 6 dimes and 2 pennies. Okay, so she has 62 cents. Joaquim has $1, 3 dimes, and 5 pennies. So he has $1.35. And finally, Jimmy has $5 and 7 pennies. Okay, so we want to know first how much do they have in all. Then we're going to compare it to our $8. Okay, so remember that when we add up, we're going to make sure our decimal is in line. Okay. Okay, so adding up, our three people here have $7.04. Okay, well obviously they don't have enough. So we need to find out now how much more do they need. So we can take our $8 minus $7.04. Okay. So 10 minus 4 is 6. And you can see that they need 96 cents. Okay, so the answer to our first question is they do not have enough money. Okay, they need 96 cents more to buy the game. Okay, so two-part question here. Okay, we got to think about first how much do they have in all, and then compare it to the $8 total. Okay. All right, moving on to our next question here. We have a pen that costs $2.29. Calculator costs 3 times as much. How much do the pen and calculator cost together? Okay, so we got a couple parts here. So we have the pen and the calculator. So now we know the pen is $2.29. Calculator costs 3 times as much. So we have 3 times as much as that. We want to know the cost together. Okay, so now one way we could do that is to find out the price of the calculator by doing $2.29 times 3, then adding it to the cost of the pen. Okay. Or we can solve it in one step by seeing that we have 4 sections here that all equal $2.29. So what we could do is actually just do $2.29 times 4. Okay, so we have 3 sections here from the calculator plus the 1 from the pen. And we get $9.16. Okay, so the pen and calculator cost $9.16. Okay, now moving on to our last one here. We have Krista has $7.32. Mallory has $2.04. How much money does Krista need to give Mallory so that each of them has the same amount of money? Okay, so this one's a little bit tricky. So let's model it out. Okay, so we have Krista, and we can see that she has $7.32. Okay, now Mallory obviously has much less at $2.04. Okay, so moving this amount right here, we'll kind of draw a dotted line there to show Mallory's amount. So what we need to know is from this amount right here, that Krista has more than Mallory, we want to give some of this to Mallory so that both girls have the same amount. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to find out how much money Krista has more than Mallory. We're going to find out this space right here because she's going to have to give some of this to Mallory. Okay, so now that tells us that we have $2.04 here, and we have $5.28 here. Okay, so now what we need to do is both girls have the $2.04 section here. So now what we need to do is take this $5.28 amount, split that in half. Okay, so we're going to be thinking about taking this and cutting it in half so that Mallory can get one of those sections, and we'll end up with both girls having the same amount. Okay, so we're going to take our $5.28 and we're going to divide by 2. Okay, so we can see now that Krista would need to give Mallory $2.64. Okay, and by doing that, both girls would get $2.64 and $2.04, and then they would both end up with the same amount. Okay, so Krista needs to give Mallory $2.64. Okay, so remember with the word problems, please read very carefully, read the question a couple of times, and underline the key information in the question.